It's been a long day. I've been solo casting all the regions, but I'm glad that for the Americas, we have you, man. We have you.
Yeah, it kind of had to be here. It is a region I think everybody's looking forward to, and a match that I think we're all looking forward to as well. We're jumping in on Elkion. We're over here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. A red Protoss player coming down from the land of Canada, playing for Apprentice Esports. We have DisK.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player representing Storm Gaming from the land of Canada. It is MaSa.
Two mainstays, I think, very long mainstays coming down from the Americas region, especially in a lot of the NA tournaments that we've had in the past couple of years. Not quite having a breakout season yet, but very, very consistently placing in at least the quarterfinals, if not semifinals.
Oh, exactly. As you were mentioning, MaSa, DisK, they have been just qualifying and making deep runs here in the Masters region, in the Americas region of ESL Masters. And yeah, it would be shocking to see them not make another deep run, which is why, this series is actually going to be a pretty close one. Both MaSa and DisK, they're both amazing players in their own right, and I think what a lot of this comes down to is who's more informed, because as you can imagine, I'm sure you're aware of this, in between seasons, they are a little bit more inactive. They don't compete in these online NA events. Their NA Apprentice isn't really your seasonal GSL of NA anymore, and MaSa and DisK, they kind of hibernate in between seasons, and they come out for the ESL Masters.
Yeah, I feel like every region has at least a couple of players who are kind of like that, where they hibernate in between the seasons, but when it comes to the big tournaments, they show back up and they still show everybody that they are a force to be reckoned with, and they almost act like a gatekeeper, right, to anybody else who wants to try to make another deep run. Well, you have to go through MaSa and DisK first here in NA.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to really prove yourself, you got to make it through some of these, as you were saying, kind of gatekeepers of the region. And we'll see how they clash together as MaSa, he's popping off. So he went for a double gas opener to begin with, so very aggressive. He delayed his expansion, and he is doubling down here with the aggression with an armory.
Oh, boy. I'm getting a couple of flashbacks to last night's match in another TVP we saw. From the Americas region. I believe it was on this map as well. I'm referring, of course, to Trigger versus Dolan, which was, similar-ish when it came to an early armory, but with a couple of key differences. For one, that was actually a Hellbat build.
Is this Thor's?
It's looking to be Thor's. The tech lab is now done. We're supply blocked. It's Widowmine to start things off with, actually, but doesn't mean that we're not going to get Thor's. This does, however, mean that we're not going to be getting Thor's. That's a very quick drilling clause, and I'm here for it.
Mate, we're taking twists and turns that I never knew existed. So for a while, I saw the tech lab being morphed or being built on the factory, and I was very caught off guard. I was like, wait, so it's not a Hellbat push? And then my mind immediately went to Thor's here for a Thor drop, but no, we're rushing into drilling claws instead. A very unique way to be getting into a very dedicated mine drop.
I keep forgetting that you don't need tech labs for Cyclones anymore.
Yeah.
This was as I saw the Cyclone be produced before the tech lab came out, and I was like, oh, this could still be a Cyclone build coming out from MaSa, but this is one of the very few builds that I think you could do as a Terran player with a early armory and a tech lab. At least it's the only one that makes sense, right? And even then, I think some would argue that reacted Widowmines might actually be another viable opening here for Terran.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because honestly, we could have seen a 4 Widowmine drop instead of a 2 Widowmine drop if this was a reactor. But because it's a tech lab, because we're getting into drilling claws, there is a little bit less firepower, but there's still a lot of potential here. Meanwhile, we went for a robot opener, a very safe follow-up here from the Twilight Council. Observer is out, detection is available, the drop is coming in. How good are the shots going to be?
Oh. Well, despite the quicker drilling claws, DisK does react in time and will be able to pull away. Only 2 probes go down to these Widowmines, so I think about it as good of a hole as you could really have gotten here.
Yeah, exactly. The mines, they get cleaned up. DisK, he pushes out across the map. This has been a rough start here for MaSa. He does have another mine drop that's going to be moving up, but at the same time, the Stalkers do bypass the army. They get into the mineral line.
Yeah, already this is looking to reciprocate the damage times 4, potentially.
Oh my god.
It's math for you.
Don't do math on stream, Poppy. Don't do the math on stream. And we are going to be bleeding out a lot of Stalkers, but that's 8 SCVs going down. We do have another mine drop coming in towards the main base, and DisK, he does react once again.
Yeah, MaSa really wants to get his connection, but DisK is just not having it at all. These traits have not been working out whatsoever for MaSa. And in fact, he's been taking a lot more damage. DisK, realizing just how committed MaSa actually was to the mine drops, feels very safe, decides to opt for that third base pretty quickly, all things considered. And yeah, I don't think DisK is going to be feeling too threatened anymore from MaSa.
Exactly, but you know what? Sometimes all it takes is one, and we are setting up a third mine drop here to go into the main base. We're still cranking out Widow Mines back at home as well, as we have, looks like, yeah, more Widow Mines going to be waddling towards this medevac towards the south. So Mana, he wants to keep the pressure up. He is hoping to catch a full mineral line, and it's possible, especially with drilling claws. Like, there is potential for damage, but so far he just hasn't found any.
How does the saying go? The more times I drop mines, the more chances there are for me to wipe out your entire mineral line. No! Or the more chances to get all of my Widow Mines blown up while they're still in the medevac. Brilliant defense here from DisK.
It's been insane. His defense has been crazy. Looking at the Unisol sap here, 6 Widow Mines for 6 probes. That is all we've really seen so far. And back at home, MaSa, he's doubling down. He's getting up towards 5 Raxes here on 2 bases. There's no third TC in sight. This may be the beginnings of a 2-base all-in. We still have time to throw down a third TC, but if we do, it's still very late for MaSa.
Yeah, I think he kind of has to double down on the Widow Mines at this point. Yeah, you need to get some kind of value out of it.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. We have another mine drop coming in, but back at home, DisK, he's fully fortified on 2 bases. He's getting his third fully operational as well, and he's working towards Colossi. The reality is that the quality of the army here from DisK is just getting higher and higher.
Yeah, it really is. DisK has just about created as good of an anti-biomine army as you can get in this phase of a PvT. And he's not stopping there. He's already teching up. Chargelets are on the way. DisK has just a lot of freedom to do whatever at this point.
He does, but here we go. We do have a double job coming in, forcing a recall back home. Even with all these Stalkers, the Colossi should be able to shut this down. At the same time, though, we do have a potential for a mine drop where we don't go in.
Yeah, MaSa actually trying to bait out the army movement here with that double drop. Coming in with the quadruple Widow Mines. There's already a cannon here for detection and to protect against the probes. And once again, DisK loses the bare minimum amount of probes here to this Widow Mine drop.
Yeah, I think that's the first time a mine just killed 2 workers instead of 1. So that it's something, but as you've been mentioning, like, the reality is that this is just not worth it in the end. MaSa coming in with the double drop once again, trying to apply pressure to this third base. He did get the shield battery earlier, but we have 2 more shield batteries on the way. We have Colossi in position as well. DisK is solid here on these 3 bases, and do we have a third TC? We still do not from MaSa.
Yeah, I'm looking at the worker count of MaSa right now, and I know this is ill-advised, Light, but I'm trying to do a little bit of math and trying to figure out if this is enough boys to be pulled for a MaSa victory.
I mean, it's going to be risky pulling boys, especially when you're relying on so many Widow Mines. Like, the friendly fire could be real. We got to be careful. But for now, we're pushing through the center, pushing into 3 Colossi, though. DisK is in position. He has force fields available as well. With good enough control, he can just slice up this army as MaSa, he's rotating around. He's trying to find another way up this ramp towards the bases of DisK.
Yeah, he's trying to buy himself as much time as possible. He actually just started up a third base, so yeah, MaSa looked like he was going all in, but I think has kind of realized that he may still have a chance as long as he's able to contain DisK on these 3 bases and you know, defend against any potential timings from him. That's why he's making all of these movements in the middle of the map. That's why he's being so active. He is just trying to make sure that DisK doesn't get too comfortable, doesn't feel like he's safe to expand or attack.
Exactly, but honestly, a disc on 3 bases is still a very scary thing. So MaSa needs to find some more damage. He tries to force his way up this ramp, but no, he loses a big chunk of his bio army. He's reinforcing. As you mentioned, this 3rd CC means that he's not all in, but he's still very committed. Like, he's still been stuck on 2 bases for a very long time.
These 4 Colossus, man, they are terrifying. Every time I see MaSa move up a ramp, I envision how quickly the Marines are gonna fall to those 4 Colossus. The Zealot run by is hitting MaSa's natural base. MaSa's really feeling a lot of pressure right now to reciprocate, but what can he really get done here with this army move out?
Here we go. He pushes towards the 3rd base. He takes out the shield, but at the same time, no! We have a double jump into the main base, but it gets shut down!
Yeah, things have just gone from bad to worse right now here for MaSa. His mines are now being cleaned up. DisK has finished up his Temple Archives. He's gotten a bunch of Archons out right now. MaSa still on tier 2 bio. No Ghosts are out just yet. No Vikings to deal with those Colossus either. No Liberators or anything else. MaSa, he's just behind in just about every metric.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up again. As you said, no Liberators, no Ghosts, no Vikings. There is no answer. There it is. Ghost Academy now gets thrown down. It is going to be quite late, though, and we'll see if Mana can survive long enough to get into those Ghosts. He now has his 3rd up and running. It is operational, but as he gets his 3rd up, DisK is working on his 4th. The 4th, though, is delayed because of how active MaSa has been.
Yeah, so that's definitely still something that's giving MaSa a bit of a fighting chance here in this game. It's definitely okay to be up. Well, he is moving up the ramp, but DisK already in position to defend. He chases this back, and MaSa will be pushed away. I was going to say, it's definitely okay as a Terran player to be down a base, as long as, you're still teching up and you're still able to keep up in the army production, but MaSa is, okay, he is still producing 2 Vikings at a time, 2 Ghosts at a time. He's not dead yet, is what I'm trying to get at, but yeah, I feel like I may be huffing too much copium.
I mean, that's standard for a Terran player. Don't worry about it, Bobby. Don't worry about it. And yeah, he's at least working towards those Vikings and Ghosts, as you were saying. He's only just now starting, so he actually doesn't have any with his main army. He has to be very careful not to be caught out, as DisK is maxed. He is at 200 supply with a massive massive Protoss Deathball, and he's just pushing in.
Yeah, he's up when it comes to the army supply. He's up when it comes to the army tech. He is up in just about every respect you've got. Actually slightly behind when it comes to 2-2 upgrades, but yeah, now we are going to be evening out. So even if that was something that was keeping MaSa in this game, yeah, he doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. At least now he incorporates those Ghosts, so EMPs are going to be huge, but this is a 2nd robo for DisK, and now we can get into Disruptor production. And Novas, they're going to be terrifying here in this situation. It's going to be on MaSa to try to avoid those Purification Novas as best he can and avoid that splash damage, as he's still just posturing, still no big commitments from either player.
DisK has just realized how safe he is as he throws down that Dark Shrine. Because why not?
He's not even behind, Papi. He doesn't even need it, but here we go. We're just once again posturing here in the center of the map. DisK has been respecting his opponent quite a lot. I do think he can commit, but here we go. We do get some EMPs.
Yeah, he can definitely commit, but he would be relying a bit on, MaSa messing up the EMP micro, which he hasn't right now. DisK able to trade pretty well, but because most of his army has just run out of shields, you can tell he's still being very, very cautious.
Yeah, he really is. And now MaSa is taking up 4th base behind this as well on location. DisK hasn't really harassed for quite some time, and MaSa's economy is not looking too bad, but here we go. The main army is pushing forward. The Disruptor has arrived.
Yeah, DisK has just about realized how far ahead he is when it comes to his army supply and when it comes to his AoE. And he's chasing MaSa all the way back to his side of the base. His side of the map.
He didn't even need the Disruptor. We have a Zealot drop into the main base. GG gets called, and DisK overwhelms MaSa and takes game number 1.
GG. Very, very well done here by DisK. Definitely a very interesting plan coming out here from MaSa, and one that I do think could have worked out pretty well. I understand the principle behind committing to Drill and Claw's mines, right? It's, I only need to get one really amazing Widow Mine connections. DisK, he's got to defend against every single drop that I do. Well, unfortunately for MaSa here, DisK was able to do just that. Yeah. And defend against every single mine drop.
Yeah, he's like, man, I'm gonna send 8 widow mines at your face with drilling claws with an army. What are you gonna do about it? And he's like, I'll defend.
Yeah.
Cuz.
I don't mind losing 1 probe per widow mine.
Yeah. He's like, what are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with all these mines? Kill 1 probe per mine?
Hey,
And
he had that 1 mine kill 2 probes towards the end there.
true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, just a very impressive performance there. Very impressive performance there. God, that.
Oh.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Very impressive performance coming out here from DisK. Is very impressive defense coming out from DisK. Playing very, very safe and also not taking too many unnecessary risks there. I think there were a couple of moments where we noticed that, hey, DisK is staying on 3 bases for quite a bit. He could be a bit more aggressive here, attacking into MaSa or harassing MaSa, or he could be a bit more greedy, taking a 4th. But yeah, it was just making sure he was as safe as can be, defending against anything MaSa had, because I think he realized how committed MaSa really was. How committed MaSa really was to not only the Widowmine harassment, but also just applying pressure on him with his move out in the middle of the game.
Exactly. So just really solid play there out of DisK, keeping up with the crazy chaotic nature of his opponent. Can he do it again? And what the hell does our Terran player have in store for us in Game 2?
Well, I think we're about to find out here on Hard Lead. We're over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Canada, representing Apprentice Esports. We have DisK.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, going to the top right, though, with the proxy, we have the Canadian Terran player representing Storm Gaming. It is MaSa. Hello there.
The MaSa from my I'm trying to go for the lyrics for that Blink 182 song, but can't make anything work.
Fair enough. So this is a very interesting proxy location. It's very far out on the right-hand side for Proxy Marine or even Proxy Marauder. 2 gases are being taken. I'm feeling a proxy factory here from MaSa. We'll see. You brought up Dolan earlier, and Dolan did go for a proxy factory build against his own Protoss opponent against Trigger, and it almost did work. Well, it actually did work in one of those games. So we'll see if MaSa is like-minded here if we do get a proxy factory.
Yeah, so far it is, just going to be a Reaper proxy for the time being, keeping the SCV there. So yeah, I think he really is very committed to just doubling down on this proxy. DisK gets a full-on scout on MaSa's base, so he knows what's up. He's going to be doubly vigilant here and checking everything.
Yeah, again, DisK, he's aware that of course, Rax is missing, and it could be anywhere. It could be deeper in the main, it could be at the linear third base, could be at the triangular third base. There are a lot of possibilities here available, and MaSa does go for the factory back at home. He does have an SCV here, but it looks like DisK will scout.
Yeah, MaSa does get caught, and that's going to be the end of this. Oh! No, it isn't!
He's doing it!
That's going to be the end of this proxy, but apparently not. MaSa just relocates slightly, and is hoping that DisK isn't... that's what I'm hoping. Mass Cyclone, Hellbats, either or could really work for him. I think MaSa is really hoping right now that DisK isn't... or rather that DisK is thinking that MaSa isn't crazy enough to commit, but yeah, it looks like DisK will check anyway.
Yeah, and okay, so we do have an armory on the way, which will allow for Hellbats. We're going to be seeing an add-on top here, but DisK, he rechecks. I was going to praise MaSa because if you remember, he lifted up his racks and he floated it to the south within range, but he did divert his attention, and DisK, he rechecks, he denies the factory. We will not get an add-on swap.
No, we will not. This build is just not working out for MaSa at all.
It really isn't, and another Stalker rocks up as well. This is stuff before it could really get going, which is a shame because the armory is on the way. We would have loved to have seen this all pieced together. The Marines rock up, and Two of them go down as a DisK is just vying for control and he forces a cancel on the factory.
Yeah, I gotta give credit to MaSa though. It seems like he does have a contingency plan here. I mean, he's not throwing in the towel. He is gonna be trying to play this game out, but DisK, by just doing his homework, essentially, just by double checking and making sure he knows exactly what he's up against, he is in such a safe position moving forward.
Not just safe, but there's nothing to defend back at home. The Stalkers show up, and they are not going to let this CC finish, by the way. They're going straight for the SCV. GG gets called, and DisK will take the series at 2-0.